Welcome to the Shoals Triple Threat Podcast presented by Platinum Tier Events and Miami Ice. I am your host, Scott Whittle, along with my co-host, Blake Prestige and David Hill. And we have a great show tonight. It's our first live show.
We're live,
so we're
baby.
Pumped about it, and we thank you for tuning in.
The mics are hot.
So, yes, the mics are hot. If you know, you know. But
They all know.
We're gonna go over some of the great area championships across our coverage area tonight. And one of those teams that advanced is Colbert County on the boys side.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about the play of Black Taylor and what he's done, the young freshman leading his team to Wallace. It's been a while, I think, since they've been there. And we're going to get a chance to talk to Tucker Robertson, the head boys coach over there. And what'd you say we get him on the phone right now?
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
So we're going to call Coach Robertson and chat with him about their trip. I think who they're going to play in the first game. We got
Mars Hill.
So,
Playing Mars Hill in the first game, yeah.
with no Eli Pounders, right? He's still out.
Correct. He's still out, from my understanding. Have you heard any different?
I've heard rumors that he could possibly play.
But well, we'll see what Coach Robertson has to say. Coach Robertson.
How's it going?
Coach Robertson, you're live on the Shoals Triple Threat Podcast. We thank you for your time and coming on and speaking to us about the great season you guys have had over there in Leeton. Talk about what it's been like. I mean, I got Coach Blake Prestige here and David Hill beside me, and just talk about the season as a whole and leading your team to an area championship and ultimately a date with Mars Hill in the Northwest Regional at Wallace.
No, it's been good. We have had kind of two pretty good years now, one with an area championship, but this year kind of went as we expected for the most part. Kind of hoped and expected to be here, but once the season gets going, it never looks exactly like you expected. So we kind of looked different than I expected to throughout the season. But ultimately, kind of not surprised that we ended up here, which is a testament to our guys, how we looked last year, this summer, spring leading up to it. We kind of thought we should be in a spot like this, but when you've never actually achieved that and had a year like we've had this year, just because we believe that we have the talent to do that, it's one thing to kind of see it in action throughout the season, which is what we have this year. So that's why just super proud of our guys for that, showing up every day and winning pretty much all the games that we're supposed to throughout the season. So just a testament to their hard work and preparation.
Coach, when you look at the regional tournament coming up this week, the landscape of 3A boys, it's pretty open. Some could say your team is probably a slight favorite. What's it going to take for you guys as far as your mindset, your approach going into the game? What's going to be keys for your team being successful this coming week and punching your ticket to Birmingham?
Yeah, I think with us, it's been really the past 2 weeks is just consistency. We've had a lot of wins. We've had a pretty up and down season at times. Had some losses that maybe we shouldn't have had, or even some wins that were a little closer than they maybe should have been. Our highs were real high, but our lows were kind of low. And throughout the season, that's not a huge deal. But obviously, once you get to tournament basketball, one bad quarter, one bad half can kind of end it for you. And so I do believe that we have the talent to win the next 2 games for sure. I think that. If that's something we can do, it just will be up to whether or not we're at our best, every possession, every quarter, just like, we're preparing for games, or we do what we need to do in practice so that when it gets in a game that, we're at our best more often than not, and don't kind of go through those lulls of a game that can hurt you.
So, what have you been doing to kind of prepare for playing in Wallace and in a different environment? There can be, just even shooting is something that can be a little bit more difficult when playing down there in teams that I've had. What are some things that you've did to get your team prepared for this big matchup with Mars Hill?
Yeah, it's something that definitely, just specifically us and Mars Hill, them being there last year and winning in 2A. I think they definitely have the edge on this in that sense of they've been there before and have really played in 4 games. 2 last year at Wallace and then 2 at Birmingham. So
Yeah.
we're kind of behind on that. But we just kind of preach our guys it's basketball. It is
Right.
different. It's a different gym. It's a different atmosphere. But at the end of the day, it's the same game. We had a unique Christmas break where we got new bleachers that put in our gym that kind of dragged on a little bit, and
Yeah.
leading up to our first game in Loretto County, January 3rd, all the way to kind of the middle of January, we couldn't use our gym. We went about 2 weeks
Oh, wow.
without having to use our gym. So we practiced at Muscle Shoals Rec, practiced at a local church. And so obviously not the same scale as
Yeah.
playing at Wallace State, but it did kind of give us a different mindset. It doesn't matter where you're at, doesn't matter the type of facility you're playing at. Like, you just got to prepare the same. And so while I didn't love that happening to us at the moment, I did think it kind of
Built some resilience.
a little bit. Absolutely, yeah. It was kind of, we thought we'd be there for a week or a few days, turned into a week, turned into 2 weeks. We just had to kind of make the best of it. And so, and our guys did a great job of it. So that gives me some confidence going into this week for sure.
When you talk about preparing, Coach, Mars Hill's been without a key piece in Eli Pounders. Do you prepare for him playing, given that there is some speculation that he might return to the court, or what?
Yeah, I think for us, it's definitely a mixture of both. Their structure is kind of the same whether he plays or not, but obviously he's a phenomenal player. And so it definitely, whether he's there in any capacity and plays, it changes their team. Maybe it doesn't change what they do as much. I think definitely change how well they do it and kind of what they look like offensively. So for us, it's kind of just prepare for both. Not putting all your eggs into one basket. And being completely caught off guard for anything. And so that's we know that there's a chance that he can play. And so we just see what kind of prepare what they would look like without him, and then hey, this is what they might look like with him.
Coach, obviously Black Taylor's a well-known player throughout Northwest Alabama. 2 parts to this question. Talk about the work he puts in and, what makes him such a special player. But also, if you watch your team play, he's not the only good player you've got on your team. Talk about some other guys on your team as well that have had a solid season for you.
Yes, the first part, you said his work. It's a lot of people say that no one works harder or work as hard as anyone else is, and it's truly the case with him. I've never seen a player be in the gym as much as him, and it's in season, off season, doesn't matter. Just truly, every accolade that he receives, every bit of publicity that he receives, all the recognition, deserves every single bit of it because of the work he puts in. It's just it's unbelievable the amount of work he's done. No, not just this year. Every year in our program,
Right.
7th grader and from 4th, 5th, 6th grade TBBA. It's a long time coming, and it may be a surprise to some people to see him perform at this level at this age. But anybody that's been around our program isn't the least bit surprised that this is what he's doing as a freshman. We've seen it every day for a few years now, but it still is exciting to see it come to fruition. But it is something that he has worked for and continues to work for every single day. And as far as the rest of our guys, that's what kind of sets us apart this year from last year is we have multiple ball handlers, multiple scorers, and some guys, Corey Campbell's a guy for us, the sophomore that had, a 30-point game early in the year versus East Florence, and so it's, a lot of people don't have anybody that scores 30 points in a game. We've got two guys that are capable of doing that, and then Dylan Castle's a senior for us that missed a lot of time middle of the year due to sickness. Had really a 2 or 3 week stretch where he was missed some games, missed practices, and even when he was at practice and at games, he really wasn't close to 100%. He's kind of gotten back to himself the last few weeks. He was a guy that averaged 13, 14 points as a junior for us last year. And that's what he's done the last 2 weeks, has been around a 14 or 15 point guy, which is what we expected him to be. And so it's been big. And we just have a lot of guys that stay ready for their moment. We are a little deeper than we've been. And, everybody has their key guys, but we've ended games with 7 or 8 different lineups, just depending on who's playing well, how the game's going, what we need. And so that's not something I've been able to say my last 2 years here. Years here, we kind of just, this is what we've got. We're rolling with this, better or worse. These are the 5 that we're putting out there. And so this year, it's been nice and refreshing to have multiple guys that, if someone has an off game or even Black has a hard time getting going, that we've got other guys that can pick each other up and step up when need be.
Well, Coach, we really appreciate your time. We know you had a new addition to your family. We congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
And we thank you for coming on the show. And you can catch Coach Robertson, Black Taylor, and the rest of the Indians at Wallace State, Hanceville on Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. when they face off against the Mars Hill Panthers. So thanks, Coach, for joining us.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, he said it. They feel like they should be where they're at.
Yeah.
And they're there because of Black Taylor and some of the guys you mentioned. And you said they're the favorite to win. We'll get into that when we do our picks, later on.
No, they're not my favorite to win. They're not my favorite to win.
We know.
They might be a slight favorite to win.
Who else is in that other side of the bracket?
We got, Carbon Hill, but probably the eventual Northwest Regional champion, my Rogers Pirates.
Look out.
Look out.
First time in 20 years. I got to give them a shout out. Huge win Saturday night at Locust Fork.
Of
course I was there.
Courtside, front and center.
Everybody saw me on
Pumping the
NFHS
crowd
all
up.
night. She was standing up clapping, yelling at the referees. So
How long has it been since they've been to
20 years.
Wow.
2004 was the last time they went. So this is huge for Rogers, huge for the Green Hill community. Proud of those guys. It was a great game. Great game. Jacob Lee had 26 points. Bo Mitchell had 25 points.
How many threes?
Bo Mitchell had 7 threes. So it was a good night to be a Rogers Pirate. It's a good night. So, and who knows? I mean, this 3A
doable.
Northwest region is pretty open.
It's doable.
And I've noticed as we talked in the last 2 episodes, Rogers is trending in the right direction.
They are.
You want to be playing your best this time of year, and they seem to be.
Yeah.
They still got Will Robertson, but Bo Mitchell, looks like he's finding his stroke at the right time, and they're going to be a team. When you can shoot the ball, you can neutralize a lot of teams. And they play that spread out offense.
Covers a multitude of sins in basketball.
Defenses.
It does.
It frustrates you. And who knows? It could propel them on to Birmingham, and we wish them the best of luck on that. But what do we got next? Let's talk about the rest of the.
Yeah, Chief, what you got?
Cheat sheet up there. We need some notes up there. Let's see what we got.
Here we come. Well, we've got Brooks. We've got the Brooks Lions who, ended up getting a huge win in the area championship against Deshler, and then moved on and got a big win Saturday night in a very tight game against a Good Hope team.
Good Hope was solid.
They were.
Good Hope was a solid team.
Were you there, Scott?
Offensively.
I was not there.
Yeah.
I did watch it.
Yeah.
And I tell you, Brooks was down 3 at the end of the first.
Yeah.
Gorley makes a turnaround jumper to kind of tie the game at halftime. And then Actually, I take that back. He made the turnaround jumper to tie at 35 going into the third. It was Good Hope that made a three to tie it at halftime. So they played pretty much evenly for 3 quarters. And then Tyson Roberts.
Oh, he's huge.
3 huge threes in a row.
That really just broke open the.
It did. It did. And it finally kind of pushed him
And it was
over.
nearly 3 possessions in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
It was boom, boom, boom. And, you know, he kind of.
It's a tie game to all of a sudden you've got a 9-point lead, and it just shifts the whole perspective of the game.
But that's what we talked about this Brooks team. They have guys any given night. If it's not Miles Warren or R.J. Morley, a guy like Tyson Roberts. Hey, look back to the start of the game. I think Clark Warren had the first 8 points, perhaps.
Yeah.
He was getting stickbacks, rebounding, getting, the ball. I was impressed with his play, but they've just got guys that continue to show up at the biggest of moments. And I think you said at one episode they won every tournament they've played, and they just want to win 2 more tournaments. They need the Northwest Regional and, of course, the Final Four. But they definitely have the makeup to do it. They'll face Fultondale, who advanced with a 1-point win on the road against area champion Fayette County. So Brooks will host them. Brooks will play them at Wallace on that same Wednesday that Colbert County plays. That game's going to be at 7:30. And we'll pick all these games later in the show. But what else we got?
Well, Deshler traveled to West Morgan in what was a great game. I didn't get to watch it because I was watching the Rogers game, and I was watching the Brooks game on my phone during the Rogers game. But Deshler battles back from down 17 at the half. Heard they got down by as much as 21. Actually, it took a 5-point lead in the fourth quarter, and then they end up losing overtime in what was a great high school basketball game, which they all are this time of year. It's why it's so much fun. But
I think it says a lot about his guys and his program that they're able to kind of battle back.
Yes,
you're down 20 on the road in the third quarter. It'd be a great opportunity just to pack it in. Your season on the line, and that those guys have so much about them just to be able to go fight. And come back like that. Big shout out to them, and that was just a wild game. It was a emotional roller coaster of a game, but Garrett Reed was just again phenomenal.
So you said that, not me. Hey,
yeah, I
did see a Twitter post. I think it was Shoals Sports Report that said 2 words: Garrett Reed.
Oh wow!
And
is the professors tweeting it?
2 words, Garrett Reed.
It's real.
But yeah, and Deshler, I think they have a lot of those guys coming back next year. A lot of underclassmen. So there's no doubt Coach Pounders and the Deshler Tigers will be back in the mix, in the future. But great season still. Looking at what they lost off last year's team, good season for the Deshler Tigers. Just came up a little bit short on the road.
But speaking about Garrett Reed, he was one of the. If I'm not mistaken, Scott, what did he say? He was the best.
I think it was the best player in Northwest Alabama in late January, early February. Yeah. I think that was the full quote.
And listen, I'm going to say this. I'm a big Garrett. I know y'all are setting me up for something here, but I'm just going to interject. I'm still a huge Garrett Reed fan.
I am too.
But this year, he's not going to be the best player in Northwest Alabama because the Deshler Tigers got put out. So,
Who do you think might be?
Yeah.
Jalen Chandler comes to mind. R.J. Gorley comes to mind. Looking at team. Bo Mitchell comes to mind. I mean, I'm banking on my Pirates being in Birmingham. Miles Warren comes to mind.
Black Taylor might have something to say.
Taylor comes to mind. Eli
Mr.
Pounders, if he makes his return, Sam Sweat. So there's a lot of guys out there who, these next 4 games, I hope it's 4 games for somebody in our coverage area. I hope they go to win state championship.
And we can't forget Loretto, who's sitting at a pretty 24-0.
Man.
Dominating.
Who has not started postseason play yet.
Correct.
But they will in the very near future. Yeah, Loretta's continues their success.
What's the word on Eli? Do you think he's coming back?
He have to play with a cast on, right? I mean, is that?
No, you can't play with a cast on. It's
he's
against
got
the
to be
rules. So they would have
castless.
For him to play, they're going to have to take the cast off.
That's only in football they let you do that. Huh?
Yeah, you can't do that in basketball. That would definitely.
I say no, then.
If he does, it's definitely a game changer. Then how effective is he going to be? If he comes back early.
Yeah.
But I think Mars Hill, they've developed some confidence playing without him. So even if he doesn't play, I still think they're good enough to put together 2 good team or games and make it to Birmingham.
And then maybe you do get him back.
Maybe you do get him back. I mean, I think they're capable even without him playing. So that's 3A boys.
You may need to give a comment on there, Chief.
It's going to be wide open. So,
I'm just saying,
one team that won't be advancing, Muscle Shoals.
Correct.
They dropped a game to Mae Jemison, so they didn't advance in 6A. But a team that did.
Who was it?
The Florence Falcons.
Who's some of their better players?
Jalen Chandler comes to mind.
He's good.
Bryant James comes to mind.
Very good.
Great player.
Blackwell.
Another Jalen.
Jalen Blackwell had a great season for him.
No, seriously, I picked them to win it all, and
they're peaking.
They're
there.
Capable, and I'm anxious to see. You know what? I tell you what.
Here we go.
Let's call our buddy Dylan Burleson. Let's talk to him about. We had a guy.
I got a question though before we get in. Reese Davis comments that was a tough emoji about Garrett Reed, that he can take all the smoke.
Oh, okay. He can.
But also, can our guy take all the smoke? Coach, we're just talking about your team, man.
We're live. We're live here on the Shoals Triple Threat podcast, and we're delighted to be joined by the area championship Florence Falcons boys coach, Coach Dylan Burleson. How you doing?
Guys, man, I appreciate you having me on.
Well, I don't know that Blake appreciates it too much.
Listen, I'm happy he's on here. I couldn't be
but
happy
are you
for
really
Coach I am happy.
Are you happy?
I am happy. Coach Burleson, let me start off. I'm gonna ask you a question.
He wants to know if you're outside first off and you're going to come in.
Oh, he probably is. I'm sure he is. I'm sure you are, Coach. Are you not happy that I picked your team to get beat in the first round of the area tournament? Did that not give your guys a little bit of extra motivation?
100%.
There you go.
100%.
So why would Coach be mad at me? Coach, I'm going to go ahead and tell you. I hope you guys get to Birmingham, but I'm not picking you to get to Birmingham.
Oh.
Whoa.
And listen,
wow.
That makes Coach happy.
What about, are you predicting him to get out of the first round? Or
No, they're going to win the first round game easily. I think. I'm already giving away my picks here. But,
okay.
Well, don't give them away yet.
But Coach, listen, I'm going to be wearing a Florence Falcons shirt when you guys play James Clemens in the regional final. I know you don't want to look ahead that far, but I'm going to be wearing a Florence Falcons t-shirt. Or you could be playing Hillcrest, one of those two. But I'm going to be rooting for you guys. But I'm not picking you because every time I don't pick you, you win. And I want you to continue to win.
Coach, do you got any like Jalen Chandler jerseys he might could wear at Hanceville?
I think we've got an extra number 10 jersey that we could hook Blake up with.
Listen, I'll hang it in my living room. I mean,
I don't know if Miss Prestige will allow that.
Yeah, my wife probably wouldn't like that. So, yeah.
Coach, listen, all seriousness. Coach Prestige said, with Jalen here, I will never pick against you again. Now he's already picked against you, and he's already telling you he's going to pick against you again. What does that mean? What does that mean? I picked you guys to win, so I guess you were unhappy with me. Is that what you're saying?
Look, I think it just needs to continue to do the same thing. Blake, continue to pick the opponent. You guys continue to pick the Falcons.
Okay.
That's right.
Just continue to ride the good times.
Look, Coach, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? What we're doing is working for you guys. There we go, yeah.
So let's talk about the date that you have on Valentine's Day with Tuscaloosa County. What's the film look like on them and the matchup for your guys?
Tuscaloosa County, man, they can score it in a variety of ways. They've got a really good guard that can score it at 3 levels. Coach Kurt Weeds does a good job as far as running some stuff through their best player and force some of their guards. I think their record is 18-11 right now.
Coach, did you play them a couple weeks ago?
We did not. We played Central Tuscaloosa.
That was
That was
it.
But they're just like us. Like, they're playing in a winner go home game.
Yeah.
It's going to be game 7. And we told our guys this today that, like, the game's going to be won Monday through Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to prepare the right way, whether it's film, whether it's practice, whatever we're doing, we need to do it with an insane amount of focus.
What does your schedule look like this week, Coach, as far as, there's quite a few days that you get to practice here? Are you, going lighter, going one-day film, anything different schedule-wise? What are you looking to do these next 4 days?
So we're still going Monday through Thursday. We have really tried to take a different approach on the days in between games or the days right after games that we've had. We do a lot of yoga, a lot of post-practice stretches.
I like it.
So that is something that we're trying to do a lot of over the next couple of days.
Who leads the yoga sessions? That's what I need to know.
It is not Coach Ben Mullins.
No, that was my hope. I was hoping it was Coach Mullins, or I bet it's Coach Thompson.
If Coach Mullins or Coach Vic or Coach Hughes led it, it would have probably been leaked on social media already.
Coach, this is the first time, I'm pretty sure, since 2019 that Florence has been to the regional tournament. It's got to make you feel pretty good, though, knowing Jalen Chandler and Bryant James both, they've been there before. I mean, both of those players have played games in Birmingham. Jalen Chandler's won state championships. Do you see those guys sort of taking on a leadership role on your team as far as, telling other guys what to expect and, keeping everybody grounded?
I definitely think those guys have already played it. And even Jalen Black getting the Wallace last year.
Yeah.
Madison Academy.
Yeah.
You kind of got guys that's been there and done that. But, too, like, there is a little bit of an unknown.
Right.
With, Florence now or us now getting to a spot that we haven't gotten to a lot in the past.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to approach it like, it's a one-game season. We're 0-0. We're playing a winner-go-home game. And, we're trying to do something nobody's ever done.
Well, what about the difference in gyms? It's a more of open goals. Are you doing any preparation with shooting or anything in those type of environments? I know you mentioned those 3 guys, your kind of big 3, if you would, have been there and have that experience. But what about some of the other guys? Any preparation to do anything of that nature?
Yeah, and I think so. Something we're doing this week, we're practicing at a different gym every day. So, like, today we went to the Coliseum on Veterans Drive. Tomorrow we'll be in the Dome. Wednesday we'll be at a different gym. And then Thursday we'll be at Coffee. So, like, I think just different environments, just because Friday's going to be different too. I think you just got to keep your guys guessing. You got to keep them on it. That way when Friday comes, like, yeah, it's a different gym. It's a different environment. But we practice at a different gym every day this week.
Yeah.
I like that approach.
I do too.
That's a really good approach.
Well, Coach, you mentioned the 3 players. You yourself have experience at Wallace leading the team and winning a game. So what experience will you take from that, and will you play 5 guys for all 32 minutes in that game?
I don't think we'll be playing 5 guys for all 32 minutes. But I think just my approach, just as it's been in the past, it's a one-game season, and you can't live and die on every play. Like, you want to go execute the game plan, you want to go dominate your opponent, and, you want to play the right way, but you just kind of got to stay in the moment. Like, there's going to be ebbs and flows throughout the game. They're going to go on runs, we're going to go on runs. But the blue-collar plays that we've made the last 2 games for most of the season, like, we've got to continue to make those plays. That's something that I think is going to dictate the outcome of this one on Friday.
Before we let you go, make a final pitch to all the listeners and Falcon Nation to come to Wallace to see you guys on Friday at 1:30 when you guys take on Tuscaloosa County.
For sure. With all Florence, we want all of Lauderdale County to to come out and watch us play on Friday at 1:30. Our girls play at 12 o'clock. They play Hillcrest, and then we play right after at 1:30. So go ahead and take the day off, Valentine's Day. You got President's Day on Monday. Let's just go ahead and make this thing a long weekend.
There you go.
And let's go ahead and get it started.
They get out excused from school too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We got a charter bus with students coming.
Has Mr. Westbrook provided a charter bus for everybody?
I think Mr. Westbrook I think he's either in the process or he crossed the T's and dotted the I's this afternoon.
You know he's a Lexington guy, so he's got to be representing well for us.
I thought his roots were with the Bears.
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
Well, congratulations to you, man. We're happy for you and really excited to watch you guys compete, or at least Scott and I are. I don't really think
Coach,
Blake wants you to win.
I'm going to cut
really
David
honest.
off right now and let you know again, I'm not picking you, but I'm rooting for you, and I hope I'm wrong. I've got such a lead in the pick'ems. It doesn't matter if I miss a few. That's why I'm just trying to do what I can do to help y'all out.
You guys, I appreciate you guys. I think what you guys do for high school sports, especially high school basketball around the Shoals, like I know I say it a ton, but like it's just I don't want to take it for granted, and I don't want our coaches around the area to take it for granted. But what you guys do, it's phenomenal, and it's appreciated.
Well, we
Thank you,
appreciate
Coach.
you, and we thank you for those
We do.
nice comments, and best of luck. I will be picking you, and
I will
look
too.
forward to watching you, hopefully there in person at Wallace State, Hanceville, on Friday at 1:30 p.m. when you guys play Tuscaloosa County. Coach Dylan Burleson, thanks for joining us tonight.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys.
They really are.
Yeah.
Probably they are the favorites, I would say.
Well, yeah,
To
they have
get-
to
and
be.
that's huge.
They have to be, given the fact that they did beat James Clemens. And we don't know what's going to happen in the
Oh
game.
yeah, anything can happen.
But if they get past this first game and get a chance to play them, it's the fourth time, and we know how those fourth times and fifth times can be.
yeah.
But they got to feel confident. They
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
feel like, hey, this is
We've
ours
done it.
to win. We've done it. But then,
Well,
you know,
it's not like they're going down there and running into a Hanceville who they competed with,
Yeah.
or a Hoover, who's everybody says the odds-on favorite to win it. So, I mean, they've got a really good shot to get to the Final Four.
Yeah.
And they always say once you get down there, anything can happen. So
I love it.
Oh,
I'm
I do
excited
too.
for them.
I am too.
It's
That's
it's
huge
good
for
for our
Florence.
community and for
Yeah, it is. It is. We want to give some end of the season shout outs there to while we're talking guys there.
Yeah, Central Wildcats, Coach Josh Bryant had a great season, one of the best seasons they've had in a long time. Wilson Warriors, Coach Krieger, they got I think I saw the second
most wins in
most
school
wins in
history.
school history. Congrats to them. Really made huge leaps and bounds this year. Excited to see the growth for that program too. Coach Brian Pounders and Deshler.
Talked about them earlier.
We
yeah.
talked about them, what kind of program they have as well, and just have turned into a really perennial program.
They have.
Sheffield, Coach South, he took a team that won one game last year, and they've really won a whole lot more games and had a sub-region appearance, and a really good job by them and the season they've had. Muscle Shoals we spoke of, they had a really good year as well. We just have a really good area of high school basketball. And that was, as we talked about this in the very beginning, that was our goal, was to let people kind of see how good our area is of basketball. And our teams and coaches have not disappointed in that regard. They've really shown, you look at even our Class 3A, you've got three out of the four teams right in our coverage area, out of the boys' side, and just a lot of excitement there.
And hats off, you mentioned it, but Coach South at Sheffield, I think they won. Did they win one game last year?
One game, yeah.
Yeah, so big time turnaround. And that's good. Sheffield, back in the day, the 80s, the 90s, they used to be a perennial, just a great team.
Don't
So,
know it.
oh, yeah. So it's good to see Sheffield,
Yeah.
trending upwards. And if you go back to our first show, I think y'all give me a hard time about stuff I say, but I said Central will have a say-so
And
in
they
the
did.
4A Area 14, and they did.
Yeah.
You know, they had another great season, and Wilson too. So a lot of teams we saw this year that were better than last year, which is what you want to see. So hats off to all those programs.
Well, you want to get to some girls action? Some of our girls' points. I think kind of the biggest talking point was the Loretto County game. That was a wild. Vinemont came in, it was 20. I think they won 23 games. Vinemont did, and they came ready to play at Loretto County. It was a dogfight. It may be as close to the game we've seen Loretto County be in for me the entire year.
Well, other than the game against Richland where they got beat, but
I didn't get to see that
hats
one.
Off. Listen, and Vinemont came ready to play. Vinemont, a lot of people were expecting that game to be a blowout. Loretto County, they probably didn't play their best game, but they found a way to win.
All right,
and that's what it's all about at this point in the season. So, you're going to have those games. Hopefully, Loretto County, I'm sure they learned from it, but don't take anything away from Vinemont. They played a great game.
But do you think Loretto County might be thinking about Wallace State and that rematch that's kind of looming around the state, not just the Northwest?
Well, they're kids. I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. And that's that. I know we're going to talk about that one more when we get to our pick'ems, but. That's going to be a phenomenal game that everybody across the state, and 3A girls is going to be looking at. And
so they did their part. Then Mars Hill does their part. Have a very strong win, and now we're just kind of circling around here. What do you think? I'm not asking for your picks yet, but what do you guys think? As we're getting into this rematch, we saw a very frustrated Bell Hill in the county championship game, or not the county championship game, but the semifinals. Loretto County did a phenomenal job of guarding her. She scored 27, but it was a very tough 27. What are we expecting different? What are y'all thinking as we're moving in?
I'll just give you my keys. For Loretto County, I think there's just one key. How do they handle pressure? And we've talked about that. And I'm not talking about the pressure on the floor. I'm talking about
the mental.
The pressure outside,
The
knowing
expectations.
the expectations. For Mars Hill, I think that game might have been a wake-up call for them as far as they had played really good competition this year. But we all know this as coaches. We like to say, well, we tell our kids just to treat it like it's any other game. But once you get to this point in the season, and like the county tournament game they were playing in, it's not like any other game.
No.
You're going to see they took Loretto County's best shot that night.
They did.
And I don't know that they were ready for the speed and physicality of that game. So
when it's different, we've both did it and have both made these comments. Like, until you're playing Loretto County, the speed of which they do things, just like you're talking about, the physicality, it is different.
Well,
it is.
It's just
let's
like
don't get around it. Like playing Deshler or playing Loretto County, like it's different when you go play those teams when they're at their peak, when they're at their best, and they've got as good of a team as they've had in years.
Yeah.
It's different.
Well, and so I think Mars Hill is capable. I mean, it's just like why is March Madness? Why does everybody love to watch it? We can look at Alabama playing Arkansas Saturday night. If that's a Sweet 16 game, both of those teams are playing at a higher level. I don't care what you say; they just are.
Right.
So, Lauderdale County, I think, was playing at that level in the county tournament because it was a huge matchup that they've been looking forward to. Mars Hill. Did they get a wake-up call in that game? I'm sure both teams are going to come ready to play, but is Mars Hill going to be ready for the speed and physicality of the game? That's going to be key, I think.
Well, now they have really experienced it. They didn't get a regular season game against them until that moment. They're not in the same area. They had went out and had a phenomenal schedule. But again, it's different playing those teams. I think another interesting point with this is, and you've talked about it before with your teams when they were younger, and I've experienced it as well. When you have seniors that are in that moment, they know it can be the last game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain amount of pressure that is added to that moment.
It is.
And then when you have younger teams in that moment, we can play next year. You know what I mean? Like,
and sometimes they don't understand the magnitude of the moment.
Correct. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm excited for that one again.
I think Bell Hill responds in a big way.
Yeah.
I mean, though she's young, she has experience. They advanced far last year. And I think having that game under their belt is helpful as opposed to it being their first time. So they kind of know what's coming at them. Maybe you can't simulate the kind of pressure that you see against the likes of Loretto County or a Deshler.
Or just the physicality to which they guard their best players. The way Loretto County guards people's best players, nobody can emulate much around here. It's different.
Yeah.
And they,
But to Scott's point about Bell Hill responding, I agree with you. I think she's going to. But let's not forget, she had 27 that night.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yes.
Yes, we're deeming it off.
But my point to that is
27.
Somebody else from Mars Hill, they're going to have other players step up if they're going to pull off the win.
The right girl, her first name doesn't come to me.
Huge.
Yeah.
She could be big in this game.
Yes. Candace Ralston.
Yes.
Who was, didn't do a lot against Lauderdale County the first time they played. She can, at any point, she could take over a game as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun.
It will. I'm excited to see that one. We had Reese Davis commenting on here earlier. What do you know? They're back at Hanceville for like the 30th time. I don't know. I think I saw.
I think they've been 21 or 22 straight seasons. They've been a regional tournament team, which is not surprising. They're there every year.
Yeah,
and which we'll pick it. They're going to have a first round game. That's I'm sure Coach Killen is not going to like me saying this, but Deshler should take care of business in that first round game, and it should set up a big matchup between them and Good Hope, who they've played the last 4 seasons, I think.
Yeah.
In Hanceville. So 2 perennial powers there. Good Hope, defending 4A state champion. So that'll be a fun one as well. We'll talk about.
It will. I'm excited to see all of these. We had Loretto. They got a big win over Summertown.
Rivalry.
Big rivalry game as they're moving into postseason play. I think now we're kind of getting into some of our shout-outs for girls teams that got out. What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's do that. Announce our player of the week, and then we'll do some picks, right?
Yeah.
But we need the Wilson Lady Warriors, Coach Eric Oakley. They had a great season.
Yeah.
Won a lot of games. They had a tough one Friday night in sub-region. They had to go on the road to Good Hope, who we just talked about, defending 4A state champion. Which, those sub-region games on the road.
Hey, they had a great season.
They had a great season.
They did.
They had a tough matchup. It just so happens they're in there with, 2 of the top 3 or 4 teams in the state with Deshler and then having to go to Good Hope. So congratulations to Wilson on a great season.
Right.
Also, the Muscle Shoals Lady Trojans had a great season. Mackenzie Sears had a great year. They're sort of in the same boat. They play 2 of probably the top 3 teams in 6A. Hartsville being in their area, and then having to play Hazel Green in sub-region play.
They've just won state 7 times.
Just 7 times in a row. So, again, tough for Muscle Shoals, but Muscle Shoals had a great season, much improved team.
Yeah.
Hats off to the Lady Trojans.
My Lady Bears, they had a tough one against Cold Springs. Really strong 2A team, but they had a great year. I was really proud of them. And then Colbert County, they had a good year as well, and hats off to them. And we had Shoals Christian girls. They capped off their season the other night. Sarah Davis finished with 3,048 points.
That's insane. It's not going to be the same without her there.
No, it won't. It won't.
What a career
And then our Waterloo Lady Cougars, man, they had a really good season.
They did.
They got knocked out of sub-region play, but did a really good job. Do you want to announce our Turbo Coffee Miami Ice girls player of the week from Florence there.
Yeah, Janori Hawkins had a career-high 24 points in their game against James Clemens. She is the Miami Ice Turbo Coffee player of the week on the girls' side, so congratulations.
One of her former players of the week, Miss Davis Reese, who's listening, she had 30, 20, and 16 points in the last 3 games.
Yeah, she could be like Sarah
She
Davis.
Could be every week.
Could be the player of the week every week.
She could.
But all these girls are eligible for our Player of the Year award that we'll announce here at the end of the season when all these games get wrapped up. But congratulations to Miss Hawkins and her Lady Falcons.
We may need to do a Shoals triple threat postseason team.
Yeah.
It might be something fun to do.
We can do that. She'd certainly be on that list. But moving on, we're going to pick these games. Blake's already spoiled a few of these games.
No, I have. I could always change. Did we announce our boys player of the week?
No,
we did not.
Let's do it when we get to the pick on that.
Okay.
We'll wait till we pick that game against Colbert County.
Sounds good. Mars Hill. Sounds good.
So starting with the picks, which you do have a lead, but it's narrowed since you didn't pick the Florence Falcons.
That's because I'm letting you guys back in.
The gap has shrunk. So we're making a comeback, me and D Hill over here.
That's right.
And we plan on closing that gap even more by picking against you on some of these picks here. But we want to start with girls or boys.
Yeah, let's do girls.
Let's do
ladies first.
3A girls.
So
Mars Hill.
Girls, what do we have? The big rematch we've already talked about. You got Mars Hill
Lauderdale
County. And that game, they played once in the county tournament, and Lauderdale County coming out on top. Coach, you wanna start us off? I'm just gonna tell you, I got Lauderdale County, but I think that it's a closer game. I like the experience. Even though it's a different coach at the helm, Coach Clemens has been there plenty of times and won plenty of games there.
Correct.
Now the pressure's on her. So can they get it done? But I think they do. But I think it'll be a really good game with a lot of fans and a great atmosphere for basketball. But I've got the Tigers in a close one.
I'm going with you on this one first.
No, you want me to pick it
first? I don't hear
on
what you
the
say.
spot. I agree with you, Scott. I mean, I think it's going to be more competitive than it was. And now we say that it was a competitive game. Lauderdale County really pulled away midway third quarter, I guess. There, I think Mars Hill is going to be more prepared for the speed and physicality of Lauderdale County. I look for Lauderdale County to sort of get over that hump. The last 2 seasons, they've sort of got to this game against a rival, I guess you could say, at the regional tournament, and they just haven't showed up. I think this is the year that they get the monkey off their back. I think a key in this game is going to be Lauderdale County's defense, which they're known for. I think Mars Hill, I don't want to get into too many X's and O's here. I think they're probably going to play some sort of zone against Lauderdale County that they've sort of struggled with in the past. They struggled against Vinemont zone Friday night. I think they're going to be prepared, though. I'm going Lauderdale County. I do think it's going to be, a competitive game. I'm going to say Lauderdale County by 10. Pulling away late.
Miss Davis says her dollar is on.
Money's on Bell Hill. Listen, you can't go wrong there.
I don't know. For me, a lot of this is going to be how the game is officiated.
Oh, it's huge.
How physical they let them be with Bell. Or if they try it. If it's called very tight, I think that goes into Mars Hill's favor. I've got Lauderdale County winning by 1.
Oh, man, a classic. I like it.
Got them winning by 1.
All 3 of us going with Lauderdale County to get it done.
I'll tell you something to keep an eye on, though. The floor, it's a bigger floor. Bigger. So the press is not as effective.
Not as effective.
It's
Good point.
That's
actually a great point.
That's something to think about. I still think Lauderdale County is going to win, but that's something that always comes into play, especially on the girls' side, because the press is, you see a lot of more teams that are built on
But it also goes
pressing.
back to your conditioning.
Yeah, it does.
And that was one thing I felt like in that game. I don't know if you remember us calling it. I felt like Mars Hill was just gassed.
Fatigued, yeah.
So who responds better to that? I don't know. But I'm ready to watch it.
It's going to be fun.
I wish we could watch it right now.
Well,
I mean, I'm almost looking forward to that as much as I'm looking forward to the Magic Kingdom of Luka. Starting with my Lakers tonight, which I can't wait to get home and watch. I'm really excited about. But
let's move through these picks. So
I digress.
I'm just going to go and say, I think Holly Pond's going to beat Phil Campbell, and I think Lauderdale County's girls are going to win that one big and advance to Birmingham.
Yeah, Holly Pond's playing Phil Campbell on the other side of that bracket. I'm picking Holly Pond simply because I don't know much about either team, and they're the closest team to Coleman.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they're going to have more people there. So I'm taking Holly Pond. But I also got Lauderdale County advancing to Birmingham to the Final Four.
that leads us.
What do you pick?
You got
Lauderdale
Lauderdale County
to the Final Four?
I've got the winner of that Mars Hill Lauderdale
Yeah,
County
I'm the
game
same way.
showing up in
The winner of
Birmingham.
that one's going to
All right.
Birmingham.
So we got
Yeah.
one team in Birmingham, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move down to the
Deshler.
Reese Davis Deshler Tigers facing off in Cordova. I'm just going to tell you, I got Deshler by 1 million.
I'm the same way. I got Deshler by 40.
I've
I
got
think Reese
Deshler
Davis.
by-
Reese, I think
She
you might have 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then not play the fourth.
She's
up
going
for
to
the
play
game.
the fourth.
Rest
She's
up
going to
for
break
that
her
big
record.
game.
She's going to break her record. in that
18
game.
threes. That's a big record down there, right? Chloe Siegel. Shout
Yeah.
out.
I think it was it 18?
She made 18 threes.
That's
I
a
think, in the
national
game.
record. That's
Okay,
not
national
a Wallace
Right,
record. Yeah, that's a national record.
So
Yeah, I think we
agree.
all got
You got
Deshler
Deshler.
big, and then I've got Good Hope big in the other matchup. Good Hope against Dora
you got Good Hope big against Deshler?
against Dora. No, don't
okay. I'm
don't go
just-
putting words in my mouth.
I'm
No,
just checking.
no,
I'm just
no,
making
no.
sure in case.
Can we all agree it's going to be Deshler Good Hope regional final?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right, David. I'll let you go and pick this one first. Good Hope's solid. They are. They're solid. They've got a great player too, in Ava McSwain. It's going to be, two great players: Ava McSwain at Good Hope, Reese Davis at Deshler, going at it. It's going to be
I'm going with the Tigers in the Final Four.
big,
Close.
close.
Dogfight. Scott?
Listen, Good Hope might be good, and I'm sure they hope they can beat Deshler, but
Deshler's great.
Deshler is great, and they got Reese Davis, and Jenna Killen's won a few games.
Yeah,
She's not a bad
she's
coach.
one of you.
No, she really isn't. Seriously, she's won several. By the way, who has the best winning percentage coach wise against her?
I don't know.
Is he in the room?
I don't
it's
know.
you. I think it's you.
Are we looking at a certain number of games
I
you had
don't
to
know.
play?
I think it's you.
Because I'm sure there's somebody out there that's like 1-0 against her, or 2-0.
At least
True.
5 matchups. You can't just play
Ah.
one game. I mean, I don't know how many times they played Tishomingo County. They lost that game this year, but
Yeah.
it's Blake Prestige. It's Blake Prestige. But I got Deshler going to the Final Four, so that's 2 teams we got in our coverage area.
I've got, like I said, these teams have played the last 4 years. Deshler is 3-1
He's saying Good Hope. I can already see where he's going with this.
against. Deshler is 3-1 in those 4 matchups. In 2 of those matchups, Good Hope has been the favorite. Last year, Good Hope got the best of them. Good Hope had a great team last year, won the state championship. No, I'm taking Coach Jana Killen and the Deshler Lady Tigers because they know how to get it done. They've been there before. They expect to get to Birmingham. Somehow, Coach Killen gets her teams to play their best in these games.
Yeah.
And they're relentless. I've seen them. I'm not going to lie. I remember in 2020, they were down, I think, 10 or 12 to Priceville in the 4th quarter, and I'm up there. I'm not going to lie. I'm cheering for Priceville because I don't want to play them again. They
Right.
find a way to come back and win. They're going to play 4 quarters, no emotion, get after you. I'm taking Deshler.
There you have it, folks.
Yeah. I didn't pick Good Hope. Not even close.
That's Had a little curve there. I thought we were going down the Good Hope path.
No. The Good Hope is a quality team, though. It's not going to be easy. It gets us
to Florence Hillcrest.
Tough matchup.
Congratulations to the Lady Falcons. They have had a great season. Hillcrest is, I'm pretty sure they're the number one team in the state. I got to see them play earlier in the year, not in person. I saw them on NFHS. They are impressive. They've got a great team. They beat Vestavia Hills. I think they might have beat Hoover as well. I think their only 2 losses are out of state. They're probably the favorite to win it all in 7A. So it's going to be a tough matchup for Florence. I got to go with Hillcrest.
Yeah, I think they'll have the better team, but I'm pulling for Florence, and that's who I hope wins. Coach Woods just did a phenomenal job there this year.
She did.
Very happy for her and very happy for that school, and they've got to see a great girls season. Got to see a great boys season as well. So I just don't think they'll have enough to get by Hillcrest, but I hope they do. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I do too. But the experience they'll get to take from being there on Friday at 12 o'clock when they play Hillcrest, who's going to, if you can beat them, you can go all the way because they are the team to beat. And they stand in the way of these Lady Falcons. But I got Hillcrest not only to win this game, but probably advance to Birmingham and beyond.
Yeah.
Well, that gets us to the boys, guys. Little boys pick them.
Well, let's see. We
got start with 3A.
3A. Let's go ahead and start with my Rogers Pirates against Carbon Hill. I'm going to go ahead and say it. The Pirates are a team of destiny, guys. I saw it. They're going to Birmingham. I got the Pirates by 50. No, no. I got the Pirates winning. I got the Pirates beating Carbon
50?
Hill in a close game, not by 50.
No, 50.
50. I would love to see the Pirates win by 50. No, I think Rogers is going to pull it out. I think Rogers has a size advantage in this game.
Yeah.
And I think if they can handle the pressure of Carbon Hill, again, we talked about the big court down there. Carbon Hill, they like to play full court up in you. But I'm going with my Pirates.
Yeah, I am too. I love how Rogers is playing right now. And I think Birmingham is a very realistic goal for them. With as well as they're playing, I could see them getting by anybody that they will encounter in this matchup. So I'm going with the Pirates. Scott?
Yeah, I like the way they're playing at the right time, and I think that's key. I think it's key for any team, but in particular, this Rogers Pirates team, shooting the ball well.
Yeah.
Their offense can frustrate a defense, and I think it'll frustrate Carbon Hill, and they'll advance and play the winner of Colbert County and Mars Hill, who I happen to be picking. I'll go ahead and tell you, Colbert County in that game. No Eli Pounders. Going to be tough.
But is there Eli Pounders?
Yeah, maybe so. We'll see. So that's a tough one.
It is tough.
It is.
That's probably the hardest one for me to pick, but I'm going to give the slightest of edges to Colbert County in this one.
I don't know if Eli Pounders is playing or not, and I'm going to say even if he doesn't play, I'm going with Mars Hill simply because they've been there before. I still think they're a solid team. I think with Sam Sweat in the middle of the lock left defense, what they do defensively, I think that's going to give Colbert County fits because they haven't seen it yet. And Colbert County, they haven't been there in a while. How are they going to approach this game? Are there going to be some butterflies there, some nerves? And we're looking on the other side of Mars Hill team. They've just won a state championship in football. Last year they won a state championship in basketball. Those kids have been there. So simply for that reason, I'm going Mars Hill over Colbert County.
Yeah, I'm the same with that as well. I think – we talked about shooting can be different there, but when you're trying to figure out the shooting and you're trying to figure out playing against the lock left defense on that stage, I think the experience will come there. And I tell you what, that's kind of not that I'm not wanting to see Colbert County advance or win because this is not what I'm saying at all. But I don't know if y'all, I know you did. The Rogers Mars Hill game was heated.
It was
physical. It was a ton of emotions. I would love to see a rematch between those two teams with an opportunity to go to Birmingham. And I think that could very well be the case.
I didn't even know there was a targeting call in basketball until I watched that game.
Yeah.
It was intense. It was intense.
It was something.
Yes.
I'll go ahead and get my pick out of the way. Rogers, Mars Hill. I'm picking Rogers. I think they're peaking at the right time. I feel, and this is probably wishful thinking, but I think they're going to put together 2 good games this week, and they're going to Birmingham for the first time since 2000. They're going back to Birmingham, and I'm going to be really happy.
Yeah, I think y'all are not going to like my answer. I think if Mars Hill wins and Eli Pounders comes back against Rogers, I think the Panthers will be too much. I think unless Pounders comes back, that the Rogers Pirates will be forcing the Panthers to walk the plank.
So you're saying you think Rogers is, if Eli Pounders doesn't come
Eli
back,
Pounders is out,
You can't pick it yet.
no, yeah.
well, I'm just telling you what my thoughts are.
Well, you got to settle on one for our viewers. You can't. Just,
We need you to say Rogers or Mars Hill.
I'll say this: R. Matey, I'm going with the Pirates.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure. Obviously, neither one of y'all picked Colbert County. You both had Mars Hill playing
Rolled
Rogers.
blue.
So I just feel like Colbert County will have the best player on the floor if they play, and Black Taylor gets it done and takes his team to Birmingham.
Oh,
But I do like this Rogers
I like that
team.
too.
I like the way they're playing, and I look for a great game if those two teams or either of those two teams face each other in the Northwest Regional
Rainy
Final.
House, do you agree?
Okay, so then let's move on to 4A. We have Brooks playing Fultondale. Brooks advancing with a win at home against Good Hope. Fultondale, a slight winner against Fayette County on the road. Look, I'll start off. I got Brooks, man. Brooks, to me, is the most complete boys team, top to bottom, roster-wise, in our coverage area. Not the best players. I think the collective group that Coach Burleson has of his big three is better on paper, but I like that any given night a different player could step up. You saw Gunnar Johnson do it off the bench in the county tournament. Tyson Roberts, 3 big threes in the game against Good Hope in the sub-regional, and you got R.J. Gorley and Miles Warren, who on any given night can go for 20+. So I got Brooks advancing relatively easy in this one.
Yeah, Fultondale's a scary team. If you look at their record, I think they're like 15-16 or something like that. But when you look at who they've played and the scores of some of those games, that's a scary 15-16. Fultondale's extremely athletic. I think Brooks, does what they do better than Fultondale. They're going to have to rely on that. They're going to have to knock down some shots. I agree. I think Brooks is going to get it done. It's obviously, once you get to this point in the year, there's no such thing as an easy game. It's going to be tough. But if Brooks doesn't play, I'm going to say the Brooks way, they could get beat in this game because Fultondale is obviously capable, but I got Brooks.
I got Brooks going to the Final Four. If they do not make it to the Final Four, again, that's my pick.
This is ifs.
They're going to the Final Four.
Full of asterisks over here.
If they don't make it, when they get zoned, and it happened in the fourth quarter the other night, I can't remember the guy's name that made the 3 threes.
Miles Warren?
No.
Gunnar Johnson? Tyson Roberts?
If they're not making it to the Final Four, I think we're going to look back and say they saw a zone and got a little flustered and couldn't make shots out of it. Again, I'm picking them to go to the Final Four, but I guess what I'm saying is that's going to be a big. They defend well enough. They transition great offense. Offensively, they play great against man-to-man defense. If a team shows up in a zone and they're struggling to make shots down in Hanceville, That's the only thing I think that prevents them from getting to the Final Four, because they defend as well as anybody in the state. They run their man stuff.
But you do have them going to the Final
I got
Four.
them going to the Final Four.
I do too. West Morgan and Tarrant. I think West Morgan probably wins that game, and they'll play Brooks in the championship with a berth to Birmingham on the line. But I think Brooks gets it done. I really do. And this could be the year that they kick down the door. I mean, they're going to have some really good teams. Jackson is a really good team in 4A. Really athletic. Of course, Fairfield, who dropped from 5A to 4A, they're probably the perennial favorite in that. So whoever they face, if they make it, is going to be a tough challenge for them. But 2 big games ahead if they can beat Fullerton.
After
but I got Brooks.
Christmas, I wonder what the record is after Christmas. I mean, Brooks,
they lost it.
They haven't lost many.
One time.
No.
On the
they
road,
were playing so well. Coach Merck's done a really good job with them.
Yeah. I've got West Morgan in that game as well against Terrence. And then I'll tell you, West Morgan's a team. Just talking to people, they're young, so they've really improved as the year went on. And if you got a 21-point lead against Deshler at one point in the game, then you're a good team.
Yeah.
So they're definitely capable of beating Brooks. I think Brooks, in watching their sub-region game, I was happy for Brooks, proud of them, because that was a tough game. And I thought, are those kids thinking about last year where they let that sub-region game get away
from them?
When it got down?
Hamilton, right?
Or Hanceville, I think it was. When they trailed, I thought, are they going to be able to overcome this? And they did, and then they pulled away late. So I think that gave them some confidence.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get it done. I'm with you guys. I think they're going to Birmingham.
I hope that's what happens.
Me too.
Well, Florence is going to play Tuscaloosa County. We talked to Coach Burleson earlier. You already gave your pick in that game. You said Florence is going to advance.
Picking Florence.
I got Florence advancing to the regional championship there.
I got them advancing to Birmingham.
Okay. You know what? I do too. What about you, Coach? Who are you picking between Florence and whoever they may play, James Clemens and Hillcrest?
He's going James Clemens, I guarantee you.
Cheering for Florence. I hope Florence wins.
Florence. I knew it.
I'm going with James Clemens.
What?
You know what? Take that back.
What?
You don't think the big three can get it done?
I'm going with James Clemens. James Clemens is going to Birmingham.
It's ridiculous.
To watch Florence play or to play?
Play. I'm picking James Clemens to beat Florence.
Didn't James Clemens just lose to Florence?
They did.
Huh. Wow.
We beat Deshler 4 times in 2020 or 3 times, and
Jalen Chandler's about to beat you 4 times.
Jalen.
I hope he does. Now, listen, I hope they win the state championship.
So should we bring him in now?
Bring him in.
Jalen, come on in.
Bring him in.
Jalen, if you're out there, come inside. Coach Prestige has got something to tell you.
The formula's been working. I pick against them, they win. I'm not going away from it.
You're a hater.
I'm taking care of them.
He really is.
He's a hater.
He really is. We get him behind the mic, and there's just no telling what might happen.
No. It's like it's hot or something.
It's unbelievable. But honestly, been fun.
It has.
We went live tonight.
Yeah, hope y'all liked that.
We're going to try to do it more, and we thank everybody for tuning in. We'll post this on our YouTube channel. We encourage you to go to our YouTube page at Shoals Triple Threat Podcast and subscribe, like
Sam
the page.
Sweat, Mars Hill.
I'm glad you said that.
Turbo, Coffee,
of the week,
Miami
Sam
Ice.
Sweat from the Mars Hill Panthers, our player of the week for this week. Congratulations to Sam Sweat. They'll play Colbert County in their game at Wallace this week, and good luck to him and the rest of the Panthers. But it's been really fun, guys, and we look forward to some great games this week, and hopefully all our teams advance.
I hope so.
And including Jalen Chandler's team.
Yeah.
Florence, we hope they advance, or at least you and I do.
Yes, you and I do.
We appreciate everybody for tuning in, and until next time,
Go Pirates.
go Jalen Chandler.
Roll Blue.